Times are tough for Sandy Springs Locksmith these days. Business is down 40% because of what they call illegitimate locksmiths in the area that overcharge customers.
They're ripping me off by using my name, a good name that's been here for 45 years, and then they rip the customer off by taking advantage. You've heard and seen elements 3 to 10 times the price.
CBS Atlanta searched online and found multiple listings for locksmiths in Sandy Springs. A 24-hour locksmith is listed at 352 Sandy Springs Circle, but in actuality, we found a law firm at that address. Another locksmith is listed at 6349 Roswell Road, but after going to that location, we learned it's an address that doesn't even exist. And we noticed another 24-hour locksmith listing online at 6214 Roswell Road, which is actually a tattoo parlor. A questionable locksmith took advantage of Kenneth Brown.
He immediately went and got a huge drill, drilled a hole in the lock, and replaced the lock, $309.
CBS Atlanta spoke with State Representative Harry Geisinger about our findings. He's introduced legislation that would help regulate the industry. What do you think needs to be done to solve this problem?
Well, we need to make sure that the locksmith is qualified to be a locksmith, first. Secondly, we need to go ahead and license the locksmith so that we know who they are and where they are.
Okay, welcome back. We're talking about rogue locksmiths here in Georgia and what can be done to stop them. And joining me now is Jack Wynn, president of the Georgia Locksmith Association. Thank you so much for being here. Jack, I got to ask you, one thing that really concerns me here in the state of Georgia is that barbers, for example, are licensed, but locksmiths are not.
That's correct.
And why?
That I'm not sure of. I think it should be the other way around. I think locksmiths should be licensed. We can get into places without keys where, honest people need keys.
Yeah, and I think that what really concerns me, like you said, is locksmiths have access to your car, to your home, after you've gone out on a call, and we're not regulating locksmiths. Is this a growing trend that you've seen?
Yes, in the last few years, it has been growing at an alarming rate.
Elaborate what you're seeing, what you're hearing.
Well, I'm hearing people locked out of their house, calling what they believe is a legitimate locksmith, and quoted, a certain rate, say $29 or $39 to come out, and then when they actually get them in their home, many times with damage to their home or to their car, the bill turns out anywhere from $100 to $500.
Wow. And what should people be paying? What's a typical rate if you're locked out of your car and you call a locksmith?
During the day, you could probably figure about $65 to $95 total.
Not $500?
No, not $500.
And so how are they getting away with charging that rate? And, is it that people just have no idea what to expect, or they're in such a desperate situation?
Both. They call a locksmith and they're told one amount, and then once they're in their car or their home, they're really happy and they accept the bill, or they're pressured into it, to accepting the bill. And then they have time to think.
And they're not all bad apples in the industry, but it's how do you find the one that is legitimate, that people want to know, so that they're good to go in this desperate situation when they need a locksmith?
Well, I recommend two things. One, there is a website out there called findalocksmith.com. That is a very good resource. And the other way is to try to find a locksmith, talk to somebody who's used one before you ever get in that situation, to where you know who to trust.
And is there some sort of national organization that a legitimate locksmith would be a part of, like yourself, that we could make sure that we're choosing one that is a member of that and held to higher standard, if you will?
Yes, the national association is called ALOA. That's Associated Locksmiths of America.
Okay.
And that is the association.
And you'll see right there, ALOA, if you go to the website, they take action against locksmith scammers and locksmiths lobbying for licensing. So they're very aware of the industry as a whole, right?
Yes, very.
And it's not a requirement to be a part of this organization, is it?
No.
Okay. So you want to find one that, from findalocksmith.com, for example, that you feel comfortable with, that is an ALOA member, and go ahead and get that information programmed into your phone right away, right?
Exactly.
Anything else you would recommend to the consumer?
When you call, ask how much it's going to be before you agree to have them come out. And if they tell you $29 plus whatever they have to do, you're probably not getting the right person. We know generally what we're going to have to do based on your description of what we're up against.
So get a quote in advance. That's a good idea, and they should match that. You should make sure that they match that when they come out. What about your home, though? We've talked a lot about cars, but I mean, how much is it going to run you approximately to get into a home?
A home is not much more.
Okay.
We can do usually anywhere from 75 to 100, 125 at the most. But generally, if you call a locksmith and they tell you it's going to be around 75 and they get out there and the job is much more difficult, they should stop and tell you that I'm not going to be able to do this for this amount. It's going to cost this. And if you wish to continue, then you authorize it.
And if they don't do that, then you're really in a pickle, because if they've done some work and they want more, is there a way to get out of that?
Well, they should have asked beforehand.
Okay. You should make sure.
Yeah, authorize that beforehand, or they can give you a range. Well, this will cost between this and this, and if you say do it, then, that's fine. Then it should not suddenly at the end of the job become $400.
Okay, so anything really above $100, a red flag starts to go up.
Exactly.
When you get into the $200, $300, $400, $500 range, you know there's a problem, and
there's a problem. That's
not who you want doing business at your house or at your car when you're trying to get in a desperate situation.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. Anything else you want to add? You mentioned the websites. That's very good. Findalocksmith.com, a great way to find one you're reputable with. And also you mentioned aloha.org. Two great resources for consumers. Jack Wynn, president of the Georgia Locksmith Association, thank you for being on the program today. We appreciate it. Good information. And when we come back, we'll tell you what's being done under the Gold Dome here in Georgia to regulate the locksmith industry and the tough penalties they want to impose. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.